Hello guys and welcome back to another video. Well, I will say a video, it's more of a live stream today for the West Ham Way YouTube channel. West Ham 1, Aston Villa 4. We're going to do some instant match reaction. Hopefully get some of your guys' comments, some of your guys' feedback. Let me know what you think of the match. My take on the match, I think, look, I think a lot of people are going to give Villa a lot of credit for that performance, but realistically I see it more as West Ham just didn't play. We just didn't show up. We didn't play good enough. You could tell from the first minute of the game that our game plan was to sit deep, take in the pressure, allow Villa the possession, and hit them on the counter. And it just didn't work. You know, I actually thought it was a decent game plan for the first sort of opening minutes. It looked like the counter was there for us. Antonio kept coming wide. I'm not really sure why. I get that we wanted to get Souček in the box and play this sort of ghost striker role, but I just don't think Antonio is good enough delivery wise, so it just didn't work for me at all. And look, as soon as they scored that first goal, it just whipped the momentum out of us, and it was just all them from there. I think the goal as well, it wasn't a great goal. No tracking, no marking. You know, that's Luiz's area. You know, that's where he's going to be. He's always going to be in that position to score that goal. And of course, that the second goal as well, just, you know, you go into half time, it's 1-0. Your job for at least the next 10-15 minutes in the second half is you don't make a mistake, you stay strong, you don't concede an early goal, because it changes the whole momentum of the game. Same way that you don't concede a goal just before half time. And we did concede a stupid goal. I mean, listen, say what you want about Alvarez, soft penalty, say you want about Alvarez, but why Paqueta is playing the ball there? I mean, there's just literally 0 point. And then we get a lucky goal when you think that maybe the momentum's going to shift for us. And we did have a very good spell, I think. We didn't really take advantage of it. Then they hit us on the counter, which was always going to be there. Ollie Watkins, very clinical as always. And then the last goal again beaten far too easily. And they make it 4-1. And listen, I see a lot of criticism going out at David Moyes. Obviously, you know, Craven in the chat saying Moyes out. A lot of criticism going Antonio's way as well. I think realistically, the way we got to look at it is we just didn't play well enough. You know, we just didn't play well enough, and I don't think there's a single player really you could say from today's performance that played well enough. I don't think there's any performances I can pick out today that played well. Emerson, I think maybe he was good going forward. Paqueta obviously sort of gave away the goal. Yeah, I can't really give anyone a good performance. So I think it's just one of those games where we just haven't played well enough, and we've been found out by a very, very good side. But I think the fact that we should be in the race for a European place with Aston Villa, and they've beaten us 4-1, it's just a massive, massive statement for us. David says second half syndrome strikes again. Yeah, look, I mean, we've been starting games really, really well. And I think the 7 out of our last 8 games, we've scored the first goal. The only game we didn't was Liverpool, which we lost. So we tend to start games off quite well, but we didn't see any of that in the second half. You know, there was no sort of, right, it's 1-0, let's grab this second goal and go on and win the game. I know that's difficult to do at Villa Park, especially when they're playing so well. But, you know, it was very clear that Villa wanted to play through the lines. They wanted to utilise the middle of the park through Diaby, McGinn, Luiz to iron out a goal. So we didn't commit enough bodies forward. I would almost say we gave Villa too much respect from the get-go. I know we're playing at Villa Park. I know that they're a good side, but I just felt like we gave them a little bit too much respect. And again, Souček, for me, I think, you know, he wasn't strong enough in the midfield. The midfield battle we lost every single time. And, you know, like David said, I don't know if it's second half syndrome, but we just didn't have any intent to go out that second half, get that equaliser and push on. And of course, like I said, you absolutely cannot allow yourself to concede a silly penalty like that. I mean, it was terrible. How are you going to pass that? I mean, first of all, why is he passing the ball back? And then Alvarez just sort of clumsily lops in. And I just think it was absolutely silly. Eddie says, Moyes out for me now. That was a shambles. Quality on the bench. Antonio should not have started. Look, I think Antonio has a good role to play in the team. He's actually quite crucial to the way we play the counter-attack, because when we lump the ball forward for him, he holds up the play and brings other players in. But I just don't think he needs to be going out to the wing. He's wasted there. And he's seen a lot of criticism for him today. But like I said, I don't think anyone had a good performance today. So, yeah, you can single out Antonio because he's the striker and ultimately we needed to score goals. But for me, I just think everyone had a bad performance today. Hammerhead said, Aged to blame for the first goal, Paqueta for the pen. Listen, I think Aged was at blame for the last goal as well. You cannot be diving in that quickly with the Leon Bailey. I mean, look, he's the angle is, right, he's not going to do much from where he is. He's going to try and cross a ball in. You just need to jockey him. You just need to, shuffle across and cover the distance. You don't need to be diving in like that. I mean, it's just silly. The goal would be Areola's near post. He'd have a good chance of cutting it out. So, yeah, and Paqueta, I'm not sure what he was thinking. I think the thing with Paqueta is, for him to be the brilliant player he is, he has to make mistakes sometimes. He does have to make mistakes, but you can't afford to make them there, and especially so early in the game. That just completely shifts the momentum and just killed the game off for us. The cyber leader says, stop it with Moyes out. Yeah, look, I think Moyes out is very harsh. We've lost 3 games all season. We've lost to Liverpool, Aston Villa and City. Liverpool, Villa are 2 points from top of the league. And yeah, they've just got those points from us. But let's be honest. I mean, we've lost to good caliber teams. We're not losing to bad caliber teams, and we're away at Villa Park, which is a tough place to go to. I think Moyes out is very harsh, but I will say, with 3-1 down, why are we not putting a player and the Ings as well? Why are we putting on Danny Ings when we've got Mubama on the bench? I mean, fair enough. If Mubama comes and does nothing, it is what it is. And yeah, we're paying Ings a lot of money. But let's be honest, why is he putting him on? There's literally 0 point. We know what we're going to get from him. And you might as well give the kid a run out and see what he can do, something a bit different. Hamad said, we made so many mistakes that led to goals today. If we were disciplined, it would have only been 1 or 2-1. Yeah, I agree with that. I think defensively, we've not been good enough and we weren't good enough today. And yeah, like I say, again, can't be jumping in for that last goal. The Watkins goal can kind of, be chasing the game, counter-attack goal, Watkins class. Fair enough, I'll accept it. But the Douglas Luiz goal, Areola should have done better. We didn't track the midfield. That's classic Villa, putting it back in the narrow parts of the pitch. And that, that's exactly where Luiz scores most of his goals for them. So I think that's really poor. And of course, the penalty speaks for itself. So I don't think Aged is overrated, Hammerhead, to be honest. I just think he's in a bad run of form. I think Mavropanos probably deserves the shout. Cyber Leader said it's the board's fault. Why is it the board's fault, Cyber Leader? I'm a bit confused by that. I don't really think it's the board's fault. I think that's really, really, really harsh. Mark, of course, fellow West Ham Way co-host, said really poor all rounds. Big wake-up call. It's one that needs a big response against Olympiacos and Everton. I don't know if it's a wake-up call per se, because I don't think Villa played us off the park. I don't think we were playing at our best and Villa played us off the park. I just think we weren't good enough. We just weren't good enough. But of course, you always need to respond after a loss. You can't sit there and be complacent, and especially against a team like Everton. Absolutely, we have to get that win at home again. We don't want to have just a start to the season and then not be able to capitalise on it. And also, I saw a stat, I think, the other day that it took us 20 games to reach 14 points last season, and obviously we're 9 games in now, we're on 14 points. So it's very, very clear the direction that we're going in is better. The signings we've bought have worked out. I think today we just weren't good enough. We played into Villa's hands by allowing ourselves to sit back and allow those big gaps in the middle of the pitch. And so, yeah, I just think the game plan, fair enough, was to hit them on the break. But when that didn't work, we just need to do something else, and sitting back and allowing them to come onto us and play through the lines and work through it just didn't work. Somebody says, night, mate. Yeah, good night, mate. Thanks for joining the live stream. Hammer says the board have invested well and have done a good job. Yeah, I agree with that, mate. I think going for the board is quite harsh. Don't get me wrong. I think they could have done better. Maybe get a new striker in, but I think definitely coming at the board is a little bit harsh. Luke says they were better, quicker, and more mobile. Yeah, look, take nothing away from Villa. They played well today. They were a good side. They play good football. They've got some really good players, but all I will say is if you look at West Ham and Villa man for man, player for player, there's not a big golfing class. There really isn't. I mean, you look at player for player, there's very few players I would actually have in that Villa team, in this West Ham team. DRB definitely, but if he's in the centre of the pitch, I'd say if he's playing on the right, I can't play him over Bowen. Pau Torres, I think, is very good. Martinez is better than Areola. Watkins is, of course, going in the team. Other than that, there's not that many players in there that you say that definitively get into that West Ham squad. So for us to have lost it 4-1, I think it's more the fact that we were just poor and we just didn't play well enough than Villa just playing us off the park, But at the same time, they did play well. So, you've got to give some credit to them. David says, can't wait to hear what the project's all about. Well, to be fair, listen, it is a project and we've got to trust in it a little bit. Like I say, we've literally lost to Liverpool, City and Villa. That's not a bad catalogue of teams to be losing to, especially when you play Chelsea, Brighton. That's really not a bad catalogue of teams to be losing to this season, 9 games in. It really isn't. So, I do think it's a bit harsh to be going for the players and going for the ball and going for the manager. I think we have got to trust it a little bit. Teams lose games, and Newcastle are flying this season. They beat PSG 4-0 at their stadium. And I'm pretty sure on the opening day of the season, they lost like 4-1 or 4-0 to Villa. So, you have got to put a little bit of trust in the process. Hammer says Bowen is one of only 3 players in history, along with Henry and Mo Salah, to score in 5 consecutive away games. Yeah, that's very, very positive for Bowen. I do think his goal's a bit fluky, but when you're in that kind of mood and you get in the score sheet, you do really well. Kramer says, has Moyes been sacked yet? No, he's not been sacked yet. I don't think he will be sacked. Probably not the right call. Harry says, from a Villa fan, don't take it too hard. We're in good form at the moment. Usually a bit of a bogey team for us, but here's to West Ham and Villa flying claret and blue flags together. Yeah, Harry, mate, absolutely spot on. I've got no, I don't necessarily agree with some of the tactics that Villa use sometimes. I think a lot of their players do play act, but then, I think most teams do. But actually, I'm quite a big fan of Villa. I think they play very good football. I like the projects under Unai Emery, and it's quite refreshing to see a team like you guys come in and try and upset the top 6. You don't want to see the same old teams doing it over and over again. And you play quite good football. Like I say, you were just a better team today, and we just weren't good enough. Different story if we played a bit of good football and then you outclassed us, but I honestly just think we just didn't play well enough. Yeah, I think it's harsh to criticise Areola fully, but he definitely should have done better for the first goal. Listen, I think that's so harsh for the Watkins goal. There's no way, no keeper's getting a hand to that. No keeper. You've got to cover the near post. You've got to cover the far post. The cross could still be coming in. If you tell Areola that it's going in the top right corner, fair enough, he saves it, but I don't think any keeper was saving that. It was lightning quick attack from Watkins. It was a tough angle for him as well. So for him to have pulled off the shot, I think is brilliant. So I think very harsh. Look, I get why people are frustrated with Antonio. I really do. But I do think he's crucial to the way we play. And when you look at the alternative, which is Danny Ings, I don't think Kudus is ready for that role either, that centre forward role. I think Antonio is more suited to it. So he could be a frustrating player at times. I listen, I do agree with you, but I think you've got to trust him a little bit, and I think he's crucial to the way we play, even if he doesn't score. Villa lose to Luton now. Yeah, listen, you never know. That's football, isn't it? It can happen any time. Last time Villa beat us at home was 8 years ago. Yeah, to be fair, I think that's something important to talk about. I think maybe if we were at home, it'd be a different story. I don't think we would have allowed Villa to have as much of the ball. I very much think that when we play at home, we don't go for the tactic of we're going to sit back and play on the counter unless we're playing a big side. A lot of the time when we play away from home, we tend to allow ourselves less possession, which can come against us because when the home team has a lot of possession, the crowd can get really, hyped up and excited for it, and it just means you're going to capitulate. Honestly, it is fair play to Villa, but from a totally West Ham standpoint, I think we just weren't good enough. We really weren't. And even when Kudus came on, I don't think he did amazingly. Don't get me wrong, didn't have a lot of time to do stuff, but I just think that once we realised that the low block sitting in our own box was not going to work because Villa could pick us off with players like, the amount of times that Diaby or McGinn or Louise took shots from outside the box, you could tell that they were quite happy. If we were just going to sit in our box and try and pen ourselves in, Villa were quite happy to take a shot from outside the box, and it led to the first goal. And, you take shots from outside the box, you win set pieces. And ultimately, our second goal was basically conceded from a set piece because we didn't clear the ball properly and we conceded a penalty. So I think when that didn't pay off for us, the counter-attack, sit back, it just didn't, we just should have gone for something else. We should have played slower football. We should have allowed ourselves to work ourselves forward more. Even just maybe try to go for, like, I don't know, 2 up top. I don't know. We just should have done something different. Yeah, look, the Ings versus Antonio debate for me is that if you're going to knock the ball long, which is what we do, who do you want backing into the defender? And you want Antonio, simple as that. So, yeah, fair enough. Ings does nothing without the ball. He's a goal scorer, but how many goals has he scored for us? He's not scored that many. And I think you forget as well that Danny Ings is not picking up the ball like Ollie Watkins. You're not slipping Danny Ings in anymore. Maybe back in the day, but you're not slipping Danny Ings in behind the goal when he's going to do a little bit of dribbling and then fire a shot past your keeper. No, Danny Ings is the type of player where you feed the ball to him in the box and he's going to put it past the keeper. That is the type of player he is. He's not the type of player that is going to do an Ollie Watkins, get played in behind and score a goal. So that is the problem for me. That's why you can't. I mean, look, Danny Ings maybe a couple of years ago, I think probably he should be starting over Antonio, because if you do slip him in behind and there is space to run him behind, you could score that goal. But ultimately, at the moment, he doesn't suit up like the style of football, because we're not a team that are going to be able to craft a chance inside the box and play it to him and score. We're just not that team. We're a team that has to play on the counter-attack or try and craft a chance or try and win a header. We're a physical team. We try and play for corners, free kicks. So it really, it doesn't work for me. I think Ings isn't as suited. I don't know if the results on Moyes, Sean, but I think definitely the substitutions were poor, not made quick enough. And again, like I said, when we realised that the counter-attack was not going to work, we just should have gone for something else, literally anything else. When we realised that counter-attack was not on and it wasn't going to work, and that Villa were quite happy to allow ourselves to sit ourselves in and give them possession, and they were also quite happy to leave a high line because they knew they'd be able to get the ball back from us. Pack needs a hairdryer. Probably, to be honest. I think Moyes is definitely the type of manager that would give players a bollocking for making mistakes like that. So, I'm not really sure what he was thinking at all. And I think it's harsh to blame it on Alvarez, but ultimately he messed up his challenge as well. Situation normal at West Ham. Moyes gets out-thought. Team gets out-fought. Yeah, I mean, like I said, maybe Moyes doesn't really have a plan B. So, when we realised that the counter-attack wasn't going to work, we just should have switched up something else. What that is, I don't know, but I don't get paid a ridiculous amount of money to be the manager of West Ham Football Club. So, if he knows, and everyone knows it, you can see that it wasn't going to work out for us to counter-attack, and that, they could hit us on the counter and they could always also allow ourselves to be penned in. I think we just should have had a plan B. Should have pulled Mickey off at half time, you reckon? Listen, I don't think Kudus is the type of player that can play those through the centre. I just don't. I don't think he's that player. I think Antonio is better suited for that. And he had a couple of decent opportunities. Like I said, I just don't think anyone had a good game tonight. So I think anyone could have been pulled off at half time, but definitely he should have been on the pitch a lot sooner than he did. Paqueta on the wing to fit in Souček. See, I think the problem is with too accommodating to Souček. It feels like we're trying to, I don't get it. It feels like we're trying to fit Souček in this team when he doesn't fit the team. It feels like we're trying to, make so many different changes just to allow Souček to be profitable, when realistically we don't need to do that. We have Mohamed Kudus, who is better going forward, is better on the ball. Yeah, maybe not better in the air, but the amount of time Souček today misplaced a pass, or he's just not that guy. He's not the type of player that can pick up the ball, and he basically, Thomas Souček is a truck. He will just run through players. He needs to give Thomas Souček the ball, and he needs to go in a straight line as quickly and as fast as possible without breaking a stride. And hopefully, when he gets in front of goal, he'll show some, show some composure and slot it past the keeper. He's all about power and strength. He's not the player like Mohamed Kudus that is going to lay the ball off and then go forward and then come back and craft out a chance. That is not Thomas Souček, and he doesn't suit our style of play. When you play on the counter, you need direct, fast players like Mohamed Kudus, like Paqueta, like Benrahma. Having someone like Souček in there just doesn't work for me. He doesn't fit the system, and it's weird that we keep trying to fit him in the system by moving players around. At one point he's played striker, centre forward. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. I think he's one of the people that has to be dropped, in my opinion. He really does. Really harsh to say Kudus looked poor. He didn't do much when he came on, but he didn't have too many minutes to do anything. So, I think Alvarez had a good game. I think he was okay when called upon, but again, I just think it's harsh to even give anyone, or maybe it's too nice to give anyone any credit after that performance. Alvarez, I think, was probably our better player. Maybe Bowen, and you put in that category, but we're really stretching for it there. Zuma forced to play every game with Mavropanos in the squad. I just think he's too important. He's our captain. He's kind of got to play, isn't he? And he didn't really put a foot wrong tonight. So I'm not really sure what that one's about. Hammerman TV says same tactics, boring football. Moyes doesn't like change. Yeah, listen, you say it's boring football, but it's got results, and it's got us scoring a lot of goals this season. We played this exact way. I mean, this is what people forget. Yeah, we played this exact way against Brighton, 30% possession at the Amex, and we absolutely played them off the park. We scored 3 goals. But maybe again, the brand that Brighton play is easier to do that to. So, I do think it's a little bit harsh. But yeah, my biggest criticism is Moyes does not have a plan B. Villa were very happy to play on the counter, but they knew they could play through the centre and almost coax us into, sitting back further and further and further, almost filling our box with their players, knowing that if they can get the ball off to Diaby or to Diaz, then they knew that they could score a goal. So Douglas Luiz, they knew he could score a goal. So they had a plan B. We didn't. It's simply that. Souček, yeah, that's what I'm saying, mate. Souček tucked the ball 4 or 7 times in the first half. He's just not good enough. He doesn't suit it, really. He really doesn't. James Ward-Prowse lost the ball too much. Again, I think everyone's a victim of that, mate. Everyone didn't do well enough today. We weren't strong enough in the midfield, and it just simply wasn't good enough. Sean says, I think the whole team didn't play well today, including the poor decision making from Moyes. We have 5 subs, but we do not use them. I'm assuming that is, which is frustrating. Yeah, I think a lot of people, including myself, will look at a game, and if we're losing, we'll say, "Oh, subs, you got to make a sub. You got to make a sub." So you don't necessarily have to do that. You don't necessarily have to make subs to make a change in the team. But I think you can see that Souček was being outclassed, so put Kudus on. You can see that Antonio wasn't working, so maybe go for Paqueta at centre forward, or try out Kudus. I don't really agree with it, but maybe try it out. But I think if we know that we're gonna be playing a certain way and it's not going to work, then we need to make a change. Apart from Antonio, harsh to blame any players. No. Completely agree. Completely disagree, Mark. The players weren't good enough today. The system didn't suit them. Then we had defensive mistakes that we made. So yeah, definitely blame on Moyes, but you can't give the players a free pass here. You really can't. I think that's harsh too, Luke. I don't know if that's the problem with our fullbacks. I think most of the goals came through the centre as well. And I think our forwards have done very well. Our fullbacks have gone very well going forward, and sometimes you take that risk. Say Zuma didn't put a foot wrong, but he gets outpaced regularly, puts in a lot of danger. Not one choice for captain, makes him undroppable. He's not been dribble past once this season, Mark. So I'm not really sure what you mean by outpace necessarily. If he's not getting dribble past, then it's not his area of the pitch. Fair enough, maybe he won't be able to catch certain players, but he's literally not been dribble past once this season. So I don't think he's put a foot wrong. And fair enough, if you put him in a foot race with most players, maybe he's not winning it, but that's the case with a lot of defenders nowadays. That's why the faster players tend to play up top, because the bigger, more physical full centre backs. When you get taller and stronger and more physical, you lose speed. That's why wingers are mainly built quite lean and quite short. That's the best. That's why. So I think it's very harsh, Mark. To be honest, I think he's put a foot wrong. Yeah, the international break never helps any teams, but again, every team is facing that problem, so we can't use it as an excuse. Villa looks amazing, but West Ham very much let them play their game. I question Moyes' tactics, though. Sometimes it seems clueless, and he's too something to change. But what do I do? What do I know? I'm a City fan. Yeah, mate. All you know is how to sit back. I mean, imagine being a City fan. You would never have to make a video about them losing. Really, I know they just lost 2 on a bounce, but I think that's like the first time in like God knows how long. Yeah. I don't think Villa looks amazing though. Maybe I'm being harsh here, but I don't think they looked amazing. I don't think they played us off the pitch and they were playing beautiful football. I think they just played their game and we just allowed them to, I think that's true. I think we just allowed them to play their game. I'm not looking at that result and thinking, Christ, Villa have played some good football there. We were in deep trouble this year if we want to get top 7. I'm coming out of that game thinking, Christ, we played some terrible football. If we want to challenge anyone for top 7, top 8 this year, then we're going to need to really up our game. I'm not sitting there looking at that team, looking at that Villa team and looking at the way they played, and thinking to myself, God, Villa have played us off the park there. They didn't. We just allowed them to do it. We made it easy for them. And again, maybe I'm being biased and maybe I'm being harsh, but I really don't see the Villa looked amazing argument. Watkins, brilliant goal, good breakaway. Douglas Luiz, he had a shot from outside the box. They had a penalty. I'm not seeing like the amazing breakdown play. I mean, and they gave the ball away a lot as well. So I'm not seeing this Villa hype. But no disrespect to Villa at all. But I'm really not seeing this sort of not from this game anyway. From across the season, I can see it, but from this game, I'm not seeing the whole. Villa looks amazing. The challenges for top 4 sort of thing. I really don't see that. Yeah, Emerson being banned is a big disaster for us, especially in a game as big as Everton, because we need to be winning that one. So, and I'm not actually sure Chris is going to be. I'm not sure he's going to be fit. I'm not sure if he even wants to play, to be honest. So, yeah. Suchek's a 10, clumsy footballer. No wonder Pack does what he wants. Yeah, it's just I just don't think he suits the system. Like I say, I feel like we put players around him to suit him and to help him play his game, when it would be easy to drop him and just try someone else, try something else. You've got Fornells, Kudus, Benrahma, all of them are better than Thomas Suchek, in my opinion, for this team. But then, he scored goals, but I don't think goals excuse bad performances or bad passes or bad playing. So, Antonio, pub team player. Listen, mate, very, very harsh. Top scorer in the Premier League. Don't you bloody forget it. That is very random, Mark. Thanks for that. I'm not even sure who that is, to be fair. Suchek can't pass. Agree. Submissive defence from our performance from us. Absolutely. Watkins class striker. Yeah, Ollie Watkins is brilliant. We all know that. Very good finish. Big reality check. Villa no better than us, but we were dreadful. Yeah, Luke, this is what I'm saying, mate. This is what I'm saying. Villa were not. They weren't outclassing us. They weren't, picking us apart. You didn't feel like we were just getting picked apart. The problem was we just weren't good enough. We weren't strong enough in the midfield. We weren't careful enough with the ball. We gave it away too cheaply too many times. We didn't work the wide areas of the pitch for our fullbacks, which we've done so many times this season. We tried to, but we just didn't manage to do it. And we simply were not good enough. I completely agree. Worst thing is you can play just as well, if not better. West Ham got potential. I just get sad when I see teams just standing back watching football instead of playing it. Yeah, I mean, like I say though, we played that way against Brighton and it worked. So I don't think it's a poor system. And I think if we play, when I watched that Brighton game, I was beside myself. So I don't mind us having 30% possession and sitting back and allowing teams to come onto us if it is profitable. If we then come away with a good chance and come away with a good, we're not conceding too many goals. Because, like I say, if we sit back, they know that they can work the centre of the pitch and score the goals. We literally penned everyone in that penalty area. They still got the ball over to Watkins, and he still should have scored. So, yeah, really, I just don't think it works for us in that particular game, and then you have to make a change. How many times players swap positions today added to the confusion? I'm not sure I noticed that too much, to be fair. I didn't really notice people chat. I'm not sure who necessarily you're referring to in that. So I don't really notice that too much. But to be fair, we have a lot. I mean, in the Newcastle game, I remember Paqueta coming a lot more centrally, then dropping back. Obviously, in this game, Ward-Prowse was deep, and then he came forward. So, yeah. Yeah, this is definitely our best squad for a long time, and I think we will do well. But obviously, today is just tough. We have our poor performance. How Antonio pulled at half time. Half time, I don't think many managers will do that. You'd have to pull an absolute stinker to do that. So very tough. Don't have better players, just a better manager. I think they do have some better players, to be fair. But definitely a better manager. I mean, you could choose which manager wants to take the project. You definitely choose Unai Emery. But they do have some better players. So I think it's harsh to say that. Yeah, listen, mate, no one's more disappointed with that performance than us West Ham fans. It's a shame. I did think we would actually be a lot more attacking. Like I say, last season we were really good defensively and we could not score goals. This season we're scoring goals, but we can't defend, and it's pretty much it's the same defence as last season as well. So it's very, very confusing. But yeah, Tony says no value in whining. They are better than us. Simple. Well, listen, I'm not whining. I am not whining. I'm just giving my opinion on a channel where you give your opinion, and other people are giving their opinion on a platform where they're allowed to give their opinion. So I don't see it as whining. I think that I'm not sitting here moaning about refereeing decisions and anything like that. They were better than us, and I've already said that. But that doesn't mean I'm going to sit here and just say, be a pretty short video if I just sat here and went, "Oh, Villa were better than us." Yeah, goodbye, guys. You've got to talk about it a little bit, and that's what I'm here to do. Talk about it, see your guys' opinions on it. So I'm definitely not whining, but they were better than us, and I agree with that. Crooks' problem is Moyes is sick of hearing how he won us a trophy. His tactics are shocking. Say they've worked so far doesn't tell the story. They don't work as much as they do. Yeah, listen, it's tough, isn't it? Because if we did catch them on the break today and scored, then how you can't really criticise it too much. The problem with Moyes is a one-trick pony. So if you play 38 games this season, sitting back and catching teams on the counter, you're not going to win all those games. You're not going to play well in all of those games, but it's a way to play it. The problem is if you play 38 games set up like that, in the games it doesn't work, if you have a plan B, you then are able to get that chance to do something else in the game and maybe turn a poor performance into a better result, So that's the problem with me, is that, yes, the tactics are negative, but they score goals. People are forgetting we are scoring goals still. I know it's negative, but it's not like we're sitting back all game, not creating chances and not scoring any goals. We score loads of goals. So, I think it's harsh for everyone to be coming at Moyes right now. And listen, I don't agree with his tactics, and I'm not the biggest fan of him. But, I think considering we've only lost to Aston Villa, Liverpool and City playing the same brand of football, and it's beating the likes of Chelsea and Brighton, I think just stick with it a little bit. The problem for me is there's no plan B, and I've said that already. I hope Moyes sees the issue and changes tactics when things aren't working. He doesn't. He can't. He has no plan B. He doesn't know how to play another brand of football. Yeah, that's never going to be Moyes. You're going to play one way all season. We saw it last season when it really wasn't working for us. He just changed formation a couple of times, and then even then didn't really stick with it. So we have players to do so much better. We have no creativity. Yeah, that's the problem, mate, is why are we fielding players like Thomas Souček when we could have Kudus or Fornals and Benrahma? Why are we putting Danny Ings on when we've got Mubama, who's absolutely torn it up? Yeah, I don't agree. I don't agree with these substitutions. I think that if you're going to play counter-attacking football, your attack has to be on it. You have to have clinical, creative players to craft out those chances and do it quickly. Thomas Souček is not going to be good on the counter-attack. Yeah, he scored a couple of goals on the counter-attack, but, there's better players out there that will play us better football. So he's the main one for me that I just don't understand. Bebin says, even if Antonio score for 10 consecutives, he will start. Antonio should be replaced at half time. There's no one to replace him with, in my opinion. Ings is not good enough, and he doesn't suit our style of play. And Mubama, I'm more than happy to give him a shout, but I think you need to play Antonio for at least 70 minutes to do that. Tim must be having nightmares. Yeah, listen, mate, he's already in the boardroom. He's already looking for some more players because I do think we need them. Riley, retires your opinion. Even if you was whining, trouble is it's different to others. You get pelters. Have your say and don't worry about it. I'm not worried about it, mate. I'm not worried about it at all. But I don't want people to think that I'm coming on here and whining and saying, "Oh, the football club's shit." That's not that's not what I'm trying to come here to do. So I just don't want people to get the conception that I'm just sitting here being annoying. Yeah, I'm probably not going to read that one out, to be honest with you. But yeah, Chelsea and Brighton were shocking at the time we played them. What about Bournemouth? We could only muster a draw. That again is harsh because they scored late on. Their goal was very fluky, it just slipped past us. And yeah, fair enough. Chelsea weren't playing their best football when we played them, but you still have to beat them. You still have to play the way you need to play. And Brighton were definitely not shocking when we played them. They were not shocking at all. They started off the season pretty well. They definitely were not shocking at the time we played them. And considering that our run against them had been so terrible, yeah, Mark, I don't agree with that at all, mate. I'm sorry, but his worst game ever for us, you reckon? No. Agree with that. Not the worst game ever. He's definitely played worse than that. When he first started for the club, he definitely played worse than that. Definitely. Stubborn dark ages football for the manager. Yeah, you could say that, but also, like I said before, it does work. We played Brighton the same way and it worked. I know I keep banging on about that, but I'm saying, it can work and it does work for us. And we played that way against Liverpool and we created a lot of chances. Yes, we lost the game, but again, I put that down more to defensive errors. If this defense played a lot better, if it made less errors, we would have a lot more points this season, in my opinion. I don't think the attack is the biggest issue, even though it is a bit negative. How many transfer windows we got to sign a proper striker? Well, that's the issue, mate. Even when we do sign a striker, either it doesn't fit the system, or it's too much money, or he's unsettled. So, yeah, it's tough all around. It's not good. It's not fun, but it is what it is. I just don't think the striker system. Big teams have not been able to get the striker they want. It's tough out there to get a striker at the moment, but I do have hope that we will get a decent one. Guirassy is someone that we are interested in. We are interested in a few strikers, so hopefully we do make a decision. All right, guys, get your questions. Last couple of questions in and stuff. It doesn't have to be necessarily about the game, but we will be finishing up the live stream very, very soon, I think. Hamhead also thinks it's his worst game. Were you not watching Paqueta when he first joined for the club? Mark thinks it as well. Oh, sorry. Worst game this. Yeah. Okay, worst game this season. I agree, but nowhere near all time. I can't even agree. I can't believe people are saying that. That's crazy. I think he played some good football. Still good in the midfield. He definitely played worse when he first started for us. Absolutely no doubt. Playing defensively and can't manage clean sheet. There's some truth to that. We are playing defensive football, but it is in the spirit of attacking football, if that makes sense. So yeah, we're defending and sitting deep, but we're only doing it so that we can catch them on the counter. But yeah, I do agree that the defense is the biggest problem. If you're gonna play defensive football and take that risk of allowing teams to come onto you, you have to at least defend well, and we are doing that. It's the same week in, week out, same start 11, same mistakes. Yeah, you would have thought, mate, that after Kudus' goal and the international break, that maybe you give him a chance to start 11. But as we know, Moyes doesn't like to chuck players in straight away. Don't know who Otis is, Luke, so I'm not sure who that is. Do you like owls? They're all right, yeah. Owls are all right. These players have the potential to play decent football, get a lead, but we constantly play not to lose. We're going one down, chase the game. Well, again, Ian, I have to say I disagree with that because 7 out of 9 games we played this season, we've been scored the first goal. Sorry, so I don't think that's true. I don't think we do go 1-0 down. Yeah, the last couple of games we have, but I don't think our aim is to go 1-0 down and then wake up. That was last season. This season, we've tried to start games on the front foot. We've scored a lot of goals from scoring first and got a lot of points from it. So I think you check your facts, mate, because 7 games we've scored first, including Manchester City, Chelsea, Brighton. Listen, scored 7 goals first in 9 games. I definitely don't think our issue is that we go 1-0 down and then chase the game. If anything, we try to score the first goal and allow our opponents to do that. It just hasn't paid off in the City game, in today's game and the Liverpool game. Could it be for the better if you had a streak of bad games and Moyes getting the sack this season? Well, issue with that is that even if we do have a bad streak of games, Moyes probably won't get sacked. And also, who do you replace him with? Graham Potter, he's a potential. I don't think we can do what Villa did. Villa went out, said, what manager do we want? They said, do you know what? Sod it. We're going to, for Unai Emery, who at the time was at Villarreal, who were not doing too well in the league, but they were doing really well in the Conference League. What a team that I actually thought were going to win it and then went out. So I don't think we've got that ambition in us to do that. I think he's very settled at the club. But to be fair, the thing with Moyes is, for us, he's on his last year of his contract. So I think they'll at least give him out this season and then see what happens at the end of the season, see if that's the direction they want to go into. I do agree with that. Players have long contracts and there's 3 bad teams, so we're not worried about relegation. But we do want to capitalise because it's very tough for us to, reclaim. But maybe we do need a season without European football to get another season of European football. That makes sense. So I can see where you're coming from, mate. Villa were too good for you. Just get over it. Yeah. No, they weren't. They weren't just too good for us. We just didn't play well. They played good football. I'm not taking anything away from Aston Villa. They play great football. They have great players. The culture at the club is brilliant. I think the fans are brilliant, and I think Unai Emery is a brilliant coach. But to be honest, I think if you're coming away from this game today looking at Villa and saying, "Oh, Villa were really, really good," then you've got the wrong end of the stick, because today you should be coming away from that game thinking West Ham were not good enough. This is not the West Ham that I've seen this season that supposedly have turned the corner and are playing really, really well. So. And there's nothing for me to get over, mate, because I don't mind that we lost. It is what it is. The better team on the day one, but I don't think it's because they were too good. I think it's because we were really bad. And yeah, that's my take on it, to be honest. Pressing was poor. Yeah, pressing was very poor. We gave the ball away way too much. Creswell's going to be in against Everton. It's looking that way, mate. I'm not sure. It depends if he's fit or not. And even if he was, I don't know who else could play that role. Maybe Ben Johnson, potentially. Ben Johnson. Maybe just chuck a centre-back in there. Back 3. 4 nails. I don't know, mate. Who knows? Boy's got him on his own. Aguerd left-back. Maybe on a centre-half. Yeah, I don't mind that, actually, because I think Aguerd's quite good on the ball. So the problem is Moyes. He went a lot of different tactics. Yeah. But to be fair, he just... he's got his way of playing. He's always had his way of playing. So it's on us. At the end of the day, if we as fans or the board do not want Moyes to play a certain brand of football, then we shouldn't have him in the club. You can't expect a manager to bring in a manager and for them to have their way of playing and their way of managing and then say, we like that, mate, but I tell you what, we want different. We want everything different from you. It would literally be like hiring Andy Carroll and saying, look, we want you to run in behind, score lots of goals, poach in the box. And he's like, well, I don't do that. I'm, put the ball up in the air and I'll head it the goal, but I'm not going to do that. So I think it's the same with the manager. You bring in a manager who suits your style of football and the direction your football club's going in. You don't bring in a manager and say, look, we want to play attacking, free-flowing football, possession football. And he go, I don't play that. I like to sit back, absorb pressure, and then play on the counter. That's my style of coaching. So I think some of it is on us as well. If we want our team to play differently to that, we can't have him as our manager. You can't just expect him to just wave a magic wand and play a different way, because that's how Moyes has always done things. So again, if you think Moyes is the issue, then I don't blame you. I think again he's still looking for Bailey. Yeah, that guy, he got sent. I think Jamie Carragher said he was trying to get the local newspaper or something, but I think the concentration had gone at that point. The players weren't switched on enough. The players weren't caring enough. And yeah, it was terrible from Aguerd. Great potential. This system just doesn't suit him. What do you mean, Ian? Do you you think maybe when he's playing a back three instead? Is that what you're saying? Should have replaced Moyes last season during World Cup break. Maybe, but I think we did win the Conference League. None of us can say whether we would have had a different season if we had a different manager in. No one can say definitively if we had Graham Potter in, we would have won the Conference League. The way last season worked out happened how it happened. So maybe so, but I think it's pointless to look on that at this point. We've just got to look forward and see the way we want to play now. The tactics do rely a lot on Antonio. The ball gets lumped up to him and he's got to chest the ball down, control it and lay it off to somebody. That is a lot to do in a short period of time, especially if you're not that good at playing the ball. So, a lot of it does rely on Antonio. And like you say, if he's not being effective, then it tends to nullify our attack. And it's why a lot of the physical centre-backs either foul him or just basically hugging him the whole game, and why a centre-back normally gets assigned to him. Totally agree with that, mate. Why bring in fair players like Kudus? Well, again, yes, this is what we're saying. Why does Moyes bring in players that he doesn't want to play? And you can say maybe that's pressure from the fans, or maybe it's because he wants to adapt a new style of play. But you've got to look at it from so many different angles. David Moyes, if he wants to play a certain way, I mean, he wanted to bring in Maguire, he wanted to bring in McTominay. We didn't want it to happen, and it's not happened. Should we as fans be saying, well, you know what? If the manager wants this player, let's bring him in. No, we say to ourselves, well, we don't want McTominay or Maguire because we don't like him or we don't think they're good enough. We want flair players, better players, Kudus. So part of it is PR as well. You have to sign players that makes the fans happy, that rejuvenates the fans. There's loads of different aspects. Why, if you want to play a certain way of football, why bring in a coach who's opposite? If you're a coach who wants to play a certain type of football, why do you bring in players that suit it? It is broken, and I think a better, more attacking-minded manager can do very, very good with this side and the players we have at the moment. So I think even if we have a poor season this season, Moyes in his last contract, I'm not too worried about it. 8th and 12th, yeah, mate, I probably agree with that. I think the competition at the moment is very, very tough. You've got, I think, probably Villa, Newcastle, Spurs, Arsenal, City, Liverpool. I forget anyone there. Arsenal, I think, does say Arsenal. I think it's probably a good 8 or 9 teams that should finish above us this season. Brighton, maybe as well. Obviously, it will be tough when they have their football, but we have our European football as well. So 8th and 12th, I think, is probably going to be our finish. To be honest, I don't mind it. It's better than last season. Depends on our cup runs, I guess. But anyway, guys, I'm going to hop off now. Gosh, it's been like 50 minutes. That's gone quick. Thank you guys for talking and giving me your comments in the comment section below. It's been really interesting to talk to you guys. Obviously, this isn't the type of video we normally do. We don't really normally do live stuff. We tend to stick to the pre-recorded stuff. But no, it's really good to get your guys' feedback and to talk to you guys. It's like I say, that's kind of what I want to do. I like chatting to you guys and getting your opinions. I don't just want it to be just me rambling on and whining, about the West Ham result. I want to talk to, all of you guys about this kind of stuff because you are West Ham fans, and this is what this channel's all about, giving West Ham fans a voice and, talking West Ham. So cheers, Dick. Appreciate that, mate. Thanks, guys, for all the lovely comments. Thanks, guys, for joining us, and we'll see you in the next one.